Hello learner, I welcome you all on behalf of School of Engineering and Technology, Indira Gandhi National Open University. Dear learner, today I am going to discuss starting and speed control of DC motor. On the previous lecture we have discussed construction and working principle of DC motor, what the different type of DC motor like DC series motor, DC shunt motor, DC compound motor, and compound motor again can be classified as cumulative compound motor, differential compound motor. So in this lecture, now we have to understand how the DC motor is started and how the speed of the DC motor can be controlled. So first of all, we have to understand what is the necessity of a starter for a DC motor. So as you know, in the normal condition, the equation for the back EMF of DC motor can be written as EV is equal to V minus IARA, where this EV is nothing but it is a back EMF. And this V is what? This V is nothing but it is a applied voltage, or you can say whatever the voltage you are applying to run the motor, that is a terminal voltage. And IA is a armature current and RA is a armature resistance of motor. So by this expression you can also write the equation of armature current IA. This IA can be written as B minus EV upon RA. So as I already told you that EV is nothing but it is a back EMF, and this back EMF is, you can understand, it is like a generated voltage, and this back EMF depends on the different parameter, like the formula of EV is equal to, you can say, P phi n 60 upon Z upon A. So this P is a number of poles, phi is a flux per pole, n is the speed of the motor, right? So, or you can say the back EMF generator in the armature is directly proportional to the speed of the motor. So you can understand, suppose motor is just about to start, or you can say when motor is at rest, so at that time what is the speed of the motor? Speed of the motor is equal to 0. Now as I already told you that back EMF of DC motor is directly proportional to the speed of motor. So if speed is 0, so you can say this EB is 0. If this EB is 0, that means this armature current is equal to what? This applied voltage divided by armature resistance. So as you know, the armature resistance of any motor is very less. In fact, you can say it is nearly 0.05. And suppose you say this IAB is a 230 voltage, so 230 divided by 0.05. So there will be huge amount of current will be flow when motor is at rest. So you can say when motor is about to start, or you can say when motor is at rest, that means speed is 0. If speed is 0, that means back EMF is 0. If back EMF is 0, that means this B minus EB is very high. If this B minus EB is very high and divided by the armature resistance, because value of this armature resistance is very less, that means armature current will be very high. And this armature current high armature current may cause different problem in the DC motor. So this heavy starting current has some dangerous effect. What will happen if this high current is flowing in the DC motor? In that case, what will happen? It will blow out the fuses, and prior to that it may damage the insulation of the armature binding due to this excessive heating effect if starting period is more, because now this armature current is high. So what is heat is what? Heat is nothing but H is equal to I square R. That means if this current is very high, so this I square R will also be very high. Now suppose this you can say the period in which this heat is developed, this T is very high. So H is equal to what? H is equal to I square R into T. So current is already very high. Now this time is again more. That means this I square R multiplied by the time. So that means huge amount of heat will be developed. Then what will happen? Whatever the fuse you are using to protect the DC motor, it will be blown out. At the same time, because the current is flowing in the wire, or you can say binding of the this armature, so there will be huge heat will be developed, and it will burn out the armature binding as well as the fuse that is being used in DC motor. The other effect of this heavy current is what? The excessive voltage drop will occur in the lines to which the motor is connected. What is the meaning of this? Because this voltage drop is what? Voltage drop is nothing but, this voltage drop can be understood like V is equal to I into R. Because we are talking about the DC motor, so that will be only we will consider the effect of the armature resistance. So voltage drop is what? V is equal to I into R. Now this armature current is very high. This means armature current is very high. That means I into R is very high. So there will be huge voltage drop will be there. That means suppose you are applying supply voltage V, or you can say in numeric value you can understand you are applying 230 voltage. Now there will be some voltage is required to run the DC motor. Now due to this heavy current there is a less voltage drop is more. That means the required voltage at the armature terminal is equal to what? V minus IA into RA. That means this IR is very high, so you are getting a very less voltage. So due to this, operation of the appliances connected to the same line may be impaired, and in some cases they may refuse to work. So this is the effect of the heavy starting current. First effect is what? It will blow out the fuse and it will damage the binding. Second, there will be a huge voltage drop in case of the DC motor. Now what we have to do, because we have understood that this starting current is very dangerous phenomena for the DC motor. So what should we do? We have to think some mechanism to protect this DC motor. So to avoid this heavy current at start, a variable resistance is connected in series with the armature, which is called starting resistance of the starter. Here you can understand. This one is a DC shunt motor, right? And the voltage generated, that is a back EMF EB, and this is armature resistance of the motor. This is a field binding of the DC motor because it is a shunt motor, that's why it is denoted as RSH. Now what we are doing, because we have concluded that when speed is 0, or you can say it is just about to start, so this IA is equal to what? V minus EB upon RA. Now this EB is 0, that means IA is equal to V upon RA. That means this armature current is very high. Now you have to control by any means this armature current. So what you can do? Just you put some resistance in series with the armature. So what will happen? This armature current is equal to what? This armature current IA is equal to V upon RA plus resistance of the starter, right? That means in the denominator value you have increased the resistance. So if you are able to insert some resistance in series with the armature, that means this IA is inversely proportional to the resistance of the starter. That means this current will be less, or you can control the current. And here this IL is a load current, this V is a terminal voltage. So as I already told you that the armature current is limited to the same value, that is IA is equal to what? V upon RA plus R. What is this RA? This RA is nothing but this is a armature resistance, and this R is what? This R is the resistance of starter, or you can say, you can see here this starting resistance is a variable resistance. That means in the starting you will put extra resistance in series with the armature, and just after the passing the time you will cut this extra resistance when this motor comes under full speed, or you can say this motor is running at the rated speed, right? So once the motor picks up the speed, the EMF is built up. How the EMF is built up? Because this EMF is directly proportional to the speed of the motor. That means this EB is equal to what? EB is equal to P phi N upon 60 into Z upon A. So, or you can say the back EMF is directly proportional to the speed of the motor. Now motor is started. That means speed of the motor is increasing. So as speed is increasing, that means the value of the back EMF is also increasing. Here you can understand by this formula, IA is equal to V minus EB upon RA plus R. So what you will do? Because in the starting you are putting or you can say inserting total resistance in series with the armature. Now as the speed is increasing, that means back EMF is increasing. At the same time, what you will do, you will try to decrease this extra resistance in series with the armature. So once the motor gets at its full speed, that means this extra resistance can be taken out in series with the armature. So at that time, what will be the value of the armature current? The value of armature current is equal to B minus EB upon RA. Now, because this EB comes in the picture, that means the value of that V minus EB is less. So in the numerator, value is decreased. That means this armature current is also decreased. So after that, starting resistance is gradually reduced. Ultimately, the whole of the resistance is taken out of the circuit when the motor attains normal speed. Another important feature of a starter is that it contains protective device such as overload protection coil, or you can say it is a relay that provides necessary protection to the motor against overloading and no bolt release coil. So in the that means by any means you have to put the some extra resistance in series with the armature. Now this extra resistance, because it is not as simple that you are just putting the series resistance in the armature. So there is some devices that can be used to put this extra resistance in series with the armature. So what we can use? We can use 3-point starter, or we can use the 4-point starter. For simplicity, we are going to understand the functioning of the 3-point starter. So here you can see in the diagram, this is a 220 volt DC supply voltage is applied to this DC shunt motor. So here you can see this one is a extra circuit is nothing but this extra circuit is of the starter, or you can say this mechanism is being used to put some extra resistance in series with the armature. So just we are discussing here 3-point starter. So basically 3-point starter consists of series starting resistance in several means. Once this starter arm will move, so it will move like this. So at this point, like when at the starting point you are putting whole resistance in series with the armature, you can say this total resistance can be understood as A to D, right? Now again you can see a spiral ring is placed, this one, a spiral ring is placed on a starter arm to bring this arm to off position when holding coil is de-energized. So what you will do? This spring is used to bring this arm to off position. This one is a off position, this one is a on position. And under normal running condition, the arm is held at on position, this one is a on position, by holding coil which is magnetized by the field current. So here you can see this one is a starter arm, this is a soft arm which will when it will come on the on position, so this soft iron will be come in contact with this magnet at the on position. This one is a spring, this one is a overbolt release coil, this is a holding coil, or you can say it is also called no bolt release coil. This one is a armature of the DC shunt motor, this is a field winding. So this terminal is denoted as armature, field and line. So again you can see that on moving starter arm clockwise, further resistance decrease in step. So as this arm is moving like this, when this is a off position, or you can say this one is a on position. So as this start arm is moving from off position to on position, so what is happening here? You can see at this position whole resistance from A to D is connected in series. Now this arm is moving like this. So that means at this position it is A, again this is moving at B, then it is moving at C, then it is moving at D, then it is coming at on position. So what is happening at on position? Whole resistance is disconnected from the armature of the DC motor. To the soft iron on starter arm latches with the magnetized holding coil and hence keep the starter arm on position. So here you can see this one. This is a soft iron, so when it will come in the on position, so it, because this is basically you can understand this is electromagnet. Now this soft iron is there, so this, as the soft iron will come in contact of this electromagnet, so it will be latch. So at this position total resistance is disconnected from the series of the armature. Now we have to understand what is the function of this no bolt release coil. This one is called no bolt release coil, or you can say holding coil. No bolt release coil is an electromagnet, as I already told you, that which is in series connected with the field winding in abnormal condition. And what is that abnormal condition? That is when there is a supply failure, or you can say when field winding is open, the holding coil is demagnetized and starter arm goes back to off position due to the spring force. Suppose there is open circuit, you can say, or you can say there is a short circuit, or it is blown out. So by any means, suppose this circuit is open, so what will happen? Because current is flowing through this no bolt release coil. When as this current is zero, so where current is zero, that means this electromagnet will be de-energized. So that means it will not work as a magnet. So what will happen? This starter arm will come in off position due to the force developed by this spring. Now we have to understand the function of overload release coil. This one is a overload release coil. So an overload release coil is an electromagnet, just like a no bolt release coil, or you can say holding coil, which have a small number of turns of thick wire. What is a wider thick wire? Thick wire means the resistance is less, because R is equal to what? R is equal to rho L upon A. That means R is inversely proportional to the area. And area is what? Area is nothing but it is a pi d square upon 4. That means this dia is more. If dia is more, that means area is more. If area is more, that means resistance is less. Why the resistance of this overload release coil should be less? Because it is connected in the series with the motor. So what we have to keep in our mind, that this resistance should be less. If resistance is more, that means there will be more voltage drop. Now it is connected in series with the motor and carries the line current, as I already told you. When the motor is overloaded, or you can say it is short circuited, so what will happen? A heavy current more than the predetermined value will flow through it. Then what will happen? Then iron pieces, or you can say armature or plunger, is lifted and short circuit the no bolt release coil. Here you can understand, because suppose there is a heavy current is flowing through this one. So what will happen? The strength of the magnet will increase. If strength of the magnet will increase, so what will happen? Because this is again this is iron. So this is a suppose electromagnet, or you can say this one is a lower portion or a iron. So what will happen? It will, this electromagnet attract the soft iron, so it will come in contact by like this. So what will happen? Here you can see this one, you can see this black portion, or you can say triangle point portion. So it will come in contact between these two terminals. So these two terminals will be shorted. So what will happen? As these two terminals will be shorted, that means current flowing through this electromagnet will be bypassed. If current flowing through this no voltage release will be bypassed, that means this will be de-energized, and then what will happen? Again this starter arm will come in the opposition due to the force generated by this spring. So this is the function of the overload release coil. Now you have understood the functioning of the 3-point starter. Now we have to understand what is the importance of the back EMF. Because I am again and again explaining that back EMF at starting is 0. So there is some advantage of this back EMF which can be understood in the following slides. So when the armature current of DC motor rotates, an EMF is induced in the armature conductor known as the back EMF, which oppose the applied voltage. As I already told you that armature current is what? Armature current is nothing but it is V minus EB. So what is happening? As name is indicating, back EMF, that means it is generating some EMF which is opposing to the terminal voltage. So you can see that means this EB is opposing to this terminal voltage. So this value of this B minus EB is less. If this value of V minus EB is less, that means this armature current is less. And this EB is directly proportional to the speed of the motor, as I already told you. Now we have to understand the 3 conditions, how this back EMF can be used to develop the torque in DC motor. So you have to remember these 2 formula. IA is equal to B minus EB upon RA, and EB is equal to phi Z NP upon 60A, where this phi is nothing but it is a flux per pole. This Z is nothing but it is a total number of armature conductor. This N is the speed of the motor, or you can say it is in RPM or RPS. This P is the number of the poles. 60 is a constant value, and A is a number of parallel path. And this parallel path depends on whether you are using a lap binding or the wave binding. In case it is a lap binding, that means number of parallel path is equal to the P. If it is a wave binding, then A equal to W. So here you can notice that means this Z is fixed. Once the motor is designed, you cannot change the number of the armature conductor. You cannot change the poles. You cannot change the parallel path once the binding is designed. So you can say EB is directly proportional to the speed of motor. So when mechanical load applied on the motor increases, its speed decreases with reduce the value of the EMF. Because when you are applying some load on the DC motor, so load of the DC motor is what? DC motor means you are it is giving some mechanical power, or you can understand this shaft is moving and you are putting some extra load, right? Or you can say understand, if you are not you can understand, suppose some train is moving. So if number of passengers are more in the train, so what is happening? That means load on the train is increasing. If load is increasing, then what will happen? That means the speed of the train will be reduced. So what we have to do? We have to increase the torque to get the previous speed of that motor. So as a result, this B minus EB increase, because as load is increasing, if load is increasing, that means this EB is increasing. If this EB is increasing, that means this B minus EB is decreasing. If this B minus EB is decreasing, that means this value of the armature current is decreasing. If this value of armature current is decreasing, so that means torque is decreasing, because torque is directly proportional to the armature current and flux. So let us understand how to back EMF makes motor self-starting. So here we are trying to understand 3 conditions. First, you have to consider when motor is running at no load. So when motor is running at no load, that means the motor is running at the rated speed. Then what will happen? That means at no load, the DC motor requires a small torque for controlling the frictional and windage losses. When the shaft of the motor is moving, that means there will be some losses. And what is those losses? It is a friction losses and windage losses. The motor withdraws the less current. As the back EMF depends on the current, their value also decreases. The magnitude of the back EMF is nearly equal to the supply voltage. That means what? That means V minus EB. IA is equal to what? IA is equal to B minus EB upon RA. So if this EB is nearly equal to V, that means this value is very less. So that means it requires very less current. That means if current is less, that means it requires very less torque. And what will be use of this torque? This torque will be used to control the frictional and windage losses. Now second condition we have to understand. Second condition is what? Just you are applying the sudden load in is applied to the motor. You can understand, suppose you are using some elevators or you are using some lift. So you must have observed that means that lift have a capacity of 5 passengers. Sometimes it happens 8 or 9 person goes inside, then lift doesn't move. So what is the meaning of that means? That means you are increasing the load in the lift. So that means this motor is not moving. Similarly, you can understand the railway system in the traction. That means if passengers are more, that means if load is increasing, that means this motor will draw extra current. And what is the use of that extra current? This extra current is nothing but it is a armature current. If this motor is able to generate this extra current IA, that means it will develop extra torque which will be useful to run the motor. So if the sudden load is applied to the motor becomes slow down. As the speed of the motor decreases, the magnitude of their back EMF also falls down. The small back EMF withdraw heavy current from the supply, as I already told you. This large armature current induces the large torque in the armature, which is the need of the motor. So the motor moves continuously as new speed. So you can understand that this back EMF is used as a governor of this DC motor. Third condition is what? If the load on the motor is suddenly reduced, the driving torque on the motor is more than the load torque. So what will happen? The driving torque increases the speed of the motor. If speed of the motor is increased, then what will happen? Because this back EMF is directly proportional to the speed of the motor, as I already told you. That means it will generate more back EMF. Now you can understand, this EB is increasing, that means IA is equal to what? IA is equal to B minus EB. So if EB is increasing, that means this B minus EB is reducing, that means it will draw less armature current. So if it will draw the less armature current, that means it will draw the less torque and motor will rotate uniformly at the new speed. So we can conclude that this back EMF work as a governor of the DC motor. Now we have to understand speed control of the DC motor, how we can control the speed of the DC motor. So as you know, there is a formula of the speed of the DC motor. N is directly proportional to EB upon phi, where EB is what? EB is nothing but it is a back EMF. And this EB can be written as V minus IA RA upon phi. So you can see that speed of this DC motor can be controlled by this applied voltage. This is applied voltage. If you are able to reduce the voltage, that means you can reduce the speed. If you are able to step up the voltage or you are able to increase the voltage, that means you can up the speed. Similarly, you can also control the speed of DC motor by this armature resistance, or you can say by armature current. If you are putting some extra resistance in series with the armature, then what is happening? So this IA RA will increase. If this IA RA will increase, that means this B minus IA RA will reduce. That means the speed of the DC motor will be reduced. So if you are controlling the speed of DC motor by the armature control method, that means you are able to control the speed below the rated speed only. The third method is what? Flux method. That means if you are able to control the flux of the DC motor, flux is what? Flux is nothing but this flux is generated in the field winding of the DC motor. So if you are able to control the flux of the DC motor, that means you can control the speed of the DC motor. So here you can see that this N is inversely proportional to phi. That means if phi will increase, speed of DC motor will decrease. If this phi will decrease, that means speed of the DC motor will be increased. Now we have to understand how you can control the phi. So as I already told you that this phi is nothing but it is a flux per pole, and this flux is generated in the field winding. That means, and this field flux it depends on basically field current. So field current is what? This is, you can say, IF, and IF is equal to what? V upon RSH, right? So you can say this terminal voltage is fixed. That means this IF is equal to V upon RSH. So this field resistance of field winding is fixed. Now suppose you are putting some extra resistance in series with the field winding. So what is happening? That means IF is equal to V upon RSH plus some extra resistance. That means value of this field winding, resistance of field winding, you are increasing. If this resistance is increasing, that means field current is decreasing. If field current is decreasing, that means speed of the DC motor will increase. That means flux control method is used to get the speed above the normal speed. Now we have to understand the power flow and the losses, how the power is flown in the DC motor. So this power input can be understood. That means power input is equal to what? Output plus losses. And these losses can be classified as copper losses, iron losses, and mechanical losses. And these copper losses again can be classified as armature losses and field winding losses. That means copper loss is what? That is basically, it is a I square R losses. That means if current is flowing through the winding in the armature, that means this I square into RA will increase, this I square into RSS will increase. The other losses is iron losses, or you can say this is basically constant losses, and these constant losses can be classified as eddy current losses and hysteresis losses. Then third losses is mechanical losses. As I already told you that when there is no load in the DC motor, so there is some torque is produced, and this torque is useful to overcome the frictional losses and windage losses. So now we have to understand the different losses, that is iron losses. So this iron losses is hysteresis losses. Here you can say whenever magnetic material is subjected to a reversal of the magnetic flux, this losses occurs, and it is due to the retentivity of the magnetic material, and this hysteresis losses can be written as PH is equal to KH V F Vm to the power 1.6, where this Ks is what? Ks is nothing but it is a hysteresis constant, and this V is the volume of the magnetic material. Whatever you are designing the armature of the motor, that means whatever the magnetic material is being used, that is this V is the volume of that magnetic material, and F and this Vm is basically flux density. And this eddy current losses is equal to Ke V square F Bm square. So when flux linking with the magnetic material changes and EMF is induced in it, which is circulate the eddy current through it. So the major part of this loss occurs in the armature core, and to minimize these losses, the armature core is laminated into thin sheet, since this loss is directly proportional to the square of the thickness of the lamination. So as the thickness of the laminations is less, that means eddy current losses will be less. Now another loss that I have already told you, that mechanical losses can be classified as air frictional losses and frictional losses at the wearing and the friction between the brushes and the commutator. These losses are known as the mechanical losses, and to reduce these losses, proper lubrication is done at the wearing. Now I have already told you this copper losses is also. This copper losses occurs in armature, in the shunt field binding, in series field binding. It also occurs in the interpole of the binding. And this copper loss also occurs in the brush contact losses, and this losses also occurs in the compensating binding of the DC motor. And there are two type of losses which can be classified as constant losses and variable losses. The constant losses is what? That this losses doesn't depend on the load, right? Or you can say these losses are the fixed, and these losses are basically that cannot be changed, that is iron losses. And this iron losses is what? Eddy current losses and hysteresis losses, mechanical losses, and shunt field copper losses. Then another losses is variable losses. These losses in the DC machine that vary with the load are called variable losses. As the armature current will increase or decrease, that means this losses will increase or decrease, because this losses is what? This losses is nothing but it is a I square R losses. And these variable losses in the DC machines are the armature copper losses, series field copper losses, and interfield binding copper losses. And stray losses is nothing but this stray losses is summation of the iron losses and mechanical losses. Now in very brief we will understand what is the efficiency of the DC machine. So efficiency is what? Efficiency is nothing but it is a output upon input, whether it is a DC machine or it is a transformer or it is a induction machine or synchronous machine or any term. The efficiency is what? Output upon input. And how you can calculate the input? Input is what? Input is nothing but it is output plus power losses. Or you can say that efficiency can be written as input power minus power losses upon input power, or you can say efficiency can be written as 1 minus power losses upon input power. So as you know, this DC machine is a basically moving machine and transformer is a static machine. So efficiency of the transformer is more in comparison to the this DC machine. Reason is what? The copper losses occurs in both cases, in the transformer as well as in the DC motor. This eddy current losses and hysteresis losses also occurs in the transformer and the DC motor, but windage losses and friction losses doesn't occur in case of the transformer, but in case of DC motor it occurs. So dear learner, in this section we have discussed what is the importance of the back EMF and how the DC motor is started. So there are different starter are used to start the DC motor, like 3-point starter and 4-point starter. And we have also understood what are the applications of the DC and DC machines. In the next session we will discuss the new machine. That machine comes under the category of the AC machine, that is a 3-phase induction machine. Thank you very much.